So welcome back to race number 3 with Tom Roach on pole position from Ed Gay after that amazing race. James Blake Baldwin and Brian Chandler are the second row of the grid with Daniel Rogers and Simon Goddard in 6th. Alan Henderson with Alex Preston, charging Alex Preston. We expect a little bit more possibly with Baldwin and Jenkins 9th and 10th. 11th for Clements and 12th for Topley. 13th for Charlie Charman and Brett Smith in 14th. Will Blackwell Chambers and Stephen Craggs is 16th with Paul Bishop and Chris Hart in 18th. Paul Tucker's 19th, and he's alongside Richard Collins, with Wayne Lamonte and Killer Kinghorn on 22nd. Yuri Horlek is 23rd, with James Atherton 24th, with Jake Simpson 25th, and Tasker in 26th. JCE is 27th, with Dale Whiteman in 28th, with Clive Powells and Paul Yeomans 30th on the grid. The one car we have lost was the 1-2-3 car after the last shunt, and that was Callum Edwards, and also, we got rain though, also Dan O'Connor. But here we go, rain in Wales at Anglesey. The drivers will be getting very wet, and that's some serious rain, and away we go, and Tom Roach makes a cracking start, and he gets across the front and has a nice commanding lead before we're even at the first corner. Wipers a go-go as we go on board with Simon Goddard has a little bit of oversteer there. The old famous Rain X racing driver's best friends. There are other products you can buy, of course, but through the banking we come, searching out the wet weather line there, trying. Brian Chandler in front of us there. Simon Goddard has a little bit of a moment there on the exit of that corner. But yeah, very, very wet Anglesey. The weather has definitely closed in on us now, so we've had just about everything we could imagine from a race meeting this weekend. We've had some fantastic racing in the dry. We've had a couple of big accidents which people have been okay from, thankfully. And we've had the drive of all drives for Tom Roach in the last race. And he's already steaming away at the front in this. Now we're on board with Alex Preston. Am I putting too much pressure on Preston as he comes up towards the rocket section? He's trying to go round the outside. There's all sorts of bumping and boring, but he does get round the outside of Rhys Jenkins. And Alex Preston now into the back of Alan Henderson, who's a little bit leery and sideways alongside Daniel Rogers. Preston in the number 32 car, another Blink Motorsport car as he turns it in. And just look at that, the camera not doing it much in the way of justice, to tell you the truth. It's just not that bad outside right now. But down the hill we come towards the corkscrew. Simon Goddard under a bit of pressure from Daniel Rogers as Henderson goes round the outside, then back up the inside. But it's not to be, he's on the wrong side of the track for the final corner. But he will, Alan Henderson, as ever, fight it out right until there. Oh, and there's a spin! Ed Gay goes round in a circle. Bit of a spin. Oh, he comes back and collects Preston. Oh, no. Poor Alex Preston, and he gets collected as well. Oh, disaster. That was Simon Baldwin there. So that's 3 of the front runners, and that's stranded cars across the circuit there. Absolute disaster. It looks like it's not Simon Goddard, that's the number 49 car. I think that's in there as well. We'll get a quick... We'll have a look at this first of all. 47 also spins there, so it's absolute carnage. Wayne Lamonte misses him. Oh, hard into the wall. Oh, that was a right bump in the head, that one. And you can see the crash happening ahead for Preston as well. So that's taken quite a few. Wayne Lamonte has had some fantastic views of accidents this weekend. But thankfully, it looks like everybody again is okay in this one. But, well, that was just what we didn't want to see happening in these wet weather. The red flag is out. The race has been brought to a halt. Alistair Topley was the car which hit the wall head on there. And we're going to have a restart very quickly here at Anglesey. Now, look at the water lying on the circuit. Very, very wet. So we've lost Ed Gay, one of our men from the front row there. And that is a real shame for him, spinning out that last corner. Hopefully Alistair Topley was alright from that one as well after hitting the wall and inside very hard. And it was just like one of those accidents where drivers see things happening in front and they try and react, but they were under starters' orders. A little bit of creeping from Goddard. You can see the red 46 car there just rolling forward right in front of race control. Not when you want to be doing that, Simon. And away we go. Once again we are racing down towards the first corner, and look at Alan Henderson on the inside there. Alan Henderson trying to make up a few positions, and if anything now there's a lot more surface water on the track after that red flag, where the cars have been sitting about for quite a while that was that accident was dealt with. So unfortunately Alex Preston out of it, Simon Baldwin out of it, Ed Gay's gone, Alistair Topley's gone as well. The spinning 47 car was Stephen Craggs earlier on as well, when I think Craggs could have possibly got rejoined in this one. But we'll have to catch up with that one and have a little look. Oh, somebody running out the road as they try and go through Church there as they run through up towards the Rocket side of the track. Jenkins on the outside, and look at the water these guys are having to deal with now. Proper wet here at Anglesey. Wipers on full swing. Simon Goddard uses a little bit of the edge of the track. Oh, there's 2 cars off. It's starting to get a little bit interesting. Is that Paul Bishop by any chance? Just a quick glimpse of them, then we're back up with the leaders. Down we come towards the corkscrew section of the track. This is where you see the drivers doing some funny ideas for racing lines, trying to search out for a little bit more grip on the outside edge of the track, going away from the conventional racing line sometimes. You can see that around the last corner there. Nobody is thinking about the apex and inside, they're all right round the outside of it. Rhys Jenkins getting a good run and trying to get past Simon Goddard. But not to be. This is where you don't want to be in an open top car as we go on board with Alan Henderson. In the number 90 car, nice bit of information on the screen for us as well. You can see the RPM, which is pulling in the G-force, and a bit of a track map as well. So a good little bit of logging there for Alan Henderson as he comes out. Heads along towards Church Corner. Got to be ever so gentle in these conditions. You really can't see very much at all, can he? Away at the front there is James Blake Baldwin. He's got a little bit of a buffer over Simon Baldwin and Rhys Jenkins. But ahead of them all, streaking away at the front, is Tom Roach and Brian Chandler. Daniel Rogers on the attack now. Daniel Rogers up the inside, and he makes that move stick nice and early. And is he going to get past Simon Goddard also? It's going to be a brave man to turn across the front of Goddard there. But he does hang it out round the outside. Sometimes there's more grip round there in the wet. And look at that, he goes past them. So he gets past 2 people in the one section of the track there. Great bit of driving by the number 70 Daniel Rogers car. And he is now freed up and away from the battle behind him. The Simon Goddard and Rhys Jenkins with Alan Henderson in the middle of that as well. Henderson trying to have a little look at the inside of Rhys Jenkins there. Not to be. Look how gentle he is in the steering wheel. Just gently tippy-toeing the car into the corner and just being as equally gentle on the accelerator pedal as well. As we click off another lap here at a very wet Anglesey coastal circuit. You can see the spray coming off not just the car, but also actually coming off the windscreen of Rhys Jenkins here as he was going along the main straight. As we have a little look at our lap chart, actually, it's good to see that Callum Edwards actually has got his brake issue fixed, and he has actually made it out for this the final race. So Callum Edwards in the number 123 car after having that terrifying accident with Dan O'Connor, the luckless Dan O'Connor, you've got to say, who is on Twitter. You can follow Dan with his racing exploits, as is a few other one of these guys, Ed Gay. But Dan O'Connor will hopefully get that car fixed and be out for the next round. But it's good that Callum Edwards has got a little bit more track time as we go along the bottom section of the circuit now, and it's side by side for Jenkins, who looks a little bit lively there. Goddard was watching him there because Jenkins was starting to get a little bit squirrely out of shape as Alan Henderson comes floating into the back, literally floating into the back. I'd like to say sailing, but that wouldn't be the right term for these weather conditions right now as we come through the Rocket section of the track, as we come up towards Peel. The drivers will just be desperate to see the last lap flag in this race, you can guarantee that. Never nice racing in an open top car. Been there before myself. Single seaters in the rain aren't really much in the way of fun. Great fun if you're actually leading a race though, but you get very wet while you're actually driving it. In towards the corkscrew section of the track now. Jenkins still on the inside of Henderson. This battle's going to rage all the way. Henderson goes very wide there. Jenkins looking up the inside of Simon Goddard. Has he got that move? Can he make it stick? The spray fills our camera, we can barely see. As we see number 43 and 88 going through there. 43 is Will Blackwell Chambers and 88 is Jonathan JJ Clements once again. Charlie Charman. Oh, Charman. Oh, Charlie. Oh dear, oh dear. A little bit of mid-corner correction in the steering wheel there as he goes through turn 1 at Anglesey. And I do like that flashing rain light ahead. Is that Brett Smith? I just need to get a little bit of a better visual on that. And Charlie Charman driving an evil handling little MX-5 in the very heavy rain waterlogged track here at Anglesey. Circuit drainage actually looks pretty good. There doesn't seem to be that much in the way of standing water anywhere. So well done to the circuit owners here. Good bit of groundwork on the drains. As we come through back up towards the Rocket section of the track as well. Those flashing red lights are actually very good for visibility. While Blackwell Chambers closes into the back of Charlie Sharman. JJ Clements gets all out of shape there. Through the rocket section of the track they go, just tippy toe. You've got to be so gentle on the throttle in these wet conditions. Gentle on everything, you're absolutely feeling it all through your bum and your hands. Strapped into the MX-5 and no doubt a 4-point, possibly a 6-point harness. Absolutely bolting you into that little car. JJ Clements now having a little look there as Simon Goddard still defensive on the inside here. And James Blake Baldwin is getting caught, but look at that. Rhys Jenkins goes up the inside in the last corner and he's taken the place, but Blake, well, it's not going to happen because Blake Baldwin was quite good round the outside there, finding a bit of grip, but struggling in these wet weather conditions. Alan Henderson's coming into this as well. As Alan Henderson comes through the corner and heads towards the banking. Is he going to try and get past Jenkins? Jenkins seems to be setting quite a good pace. So rather than pass him, try and follow him and let him make the holes. Out of the banking along this little short shoot before they build up the courage to go through Church. Gently turning the car in, it's dancing a little dance on the edge of adhesion there, we can see that, but drivers staying away from the curbs as well, not running out over the curbs, but as we come along opposite the pits now, look at Jenkins start to get into the swing of things. Blake Baldwin almost defends, sits in the middle of the road, but is Rhys Jenkins going to be brave on the brakes? Can he go around the outside or can he just get alongside him and possibly capitalise in the second part of Rocket? Yes, he can. Good driving, Rhys Jenkins, well done. And look at Henderson now trying to go around the outside of James Blake Baldwin as well, who'll be wondering what's happened. Setting the pace in the wet conditions, but these other drivers just finding a little bit better car set up properly, or a little bit more grip in these wet weather conditions. We've got to remember as well, James Blake Baldwin, it did appear like he had some sort of issue in race number 2. Maybe troubling with gear selection, but there's Brett Smith past him as well now. Oh, a bumperless Brett Smith also. So we'll need to get something, we need to get that reattached, and it is Brett Smith with that lovely flashing red light on the back of his car. As they click off another lap here at Anglesey. Remember, Tom Roach still out in the lead with Brian Chandler. Daniel Rogers is circulating in third position, or splashing around in third position right now, as Henderson and Jenkins still locked together. Albeit quite a way back from the leaders. Can Alan Henderson now, can he make some sort of move on Rhys Jenkins as he turns in, and he's ever so gentle there, a lot of spray getting kicked up. And you have to think though, to get past Jenkins is going to have to take some sort of mistake, because Jenkins has been absolutely flawless in these wet weather conditions. Hasn't really put much in the way of a foot wrong. If anything, he's been one of the stars in this race. Cutting through the field. Nice outside wide line there, trying to find a little bit more grip. Not using the conventional tight to the inside line. Henderson, you can see, also doing the same, but doing it a different way, and Henderson's got a good runner for that rocket corner as they head towards Peel. Henderson's on the inside for the overlap, and he's got past. Well, he's alongside, at least Jenkins is trying to fight this on the outside. Has a little look towards the inside. Henderson's quite quick down here. We've seen him not be shy. He's quite happy to run round the outside of this corner here. He knows there's quite a bit of grip, and that puts him on the inside for the corkscrew. Now, can Jenkins hold it outside? Is there still two abreast as they come in towards the final corner? Brilliant bit of MX-5 driving by these guys here. Jenkins just gets pitched a little bit tighter there by Henderson, and it looks like Alan Henderson has finally cleared him and got himself up into fourth place. But no, he's not, because Jenkins comes back on the inside at turn 1. A cracking manoeuvre there. In towards the banking. This is another overtaking place for Alan Henderson, but we're back at the front now, because look at this. Brian Chandler as they go past the pits. Opposite the pits here, Brian Chandler has caught right up with Roachy, and Tom Roach is going to have to watch, because Brian Chandler, gotta say, deserves a win. He's driven so well this weekend, and these guys driving well in the wet and quite capable of driving like stars no matter what the conditions are. As they come through the Peel section of the track just now, a kind of half-hearted attempt at having a headlamp on there possibly for Brian. And Tom Roach just looks unflappable in that Blendini Motorsport car. Having said that, his first race didn't go to plan, did it? He got a 5-second penalty for track limits. He was then given a drive-through penalty, which he ignored, and got a 30-second penalty on top of that. That put him 16th on the grid for the second race, and he fought through from 16th to win. An absolutely stonking drive. And he's now leading the race here ahead of the hard-charging Brian Chandler, who in race number 2, Brian was actually hard done by not to get a race win. Fighting hard with James Blake Baldwin. Blake Baldwin had some sort of what looked like a mechanical issue, and Chandler got done by Tom Roach and Ed Gay on the very last lap. But here we see we're on board with him. It looks like somebody has possibly tightened up that rearview mirror for him as he comes through Church. You can hear the cars using the exit curb there, the little rumble. And they're still absolutely flat out as they come up towards the rocket area of the track. The cars must feel a little bit lively on, just as you go to step on the brake pedal there. You've got to really watch what you're doing. Just a little bit too much pressure on the brake pedal, you're going to lock a wheel up, then you've got to come off the brake pedal to free up that wheel to get it moving again, to then go back onto the brakes. Oh, it's all dancing a little knife edge, it really is when you're driving a race car in the wet. Wing mirror looks like it's taking a little bit of a beating on Tom Roach's Blendini car there on the pasture side. But down the hill he comes in towards the corkscrew section of the track once again, past the marshals who are now decked out in the orange gear, but it's more waterproof gear than they had on earlier on. And off to click off another lap, and this is where Chandler's pretty good. Chandler is pretty hot out that last corner, or in that whole area, but over the course of the lap it just seems like Tom Roach has got the measure of him. Let's dive back into the pack now. It's Charlie Charman, isn't it, with JJ Clements on the back of him. And he's chasing James Blake Baldwin as well as Charlie Charman. As they go on board with Charlie Charman, and let's just watch if he's managed to smooth the style out a little bit for these conditions, because he was looking a little bit energetic on that steering wheel earlier on. We don't stay on board with him too long because we pick back up with the leaders. Chandler needs to mount some sort of assault at Tom Roach because there's not long in this race now. Not long to go. Up towards the rocket section once again. Tom Roach going right round the outside. He's just happy with that. Prefers the level of grip round the outside. And he does the same through the second part of Rocket before they head on towards Peel. You can see he just accelerates better traction out of there in towards Peel now. Both drivers doing the exact same thing round the outside edge of the circuit before they start the drop, the descent down towards the start-finish line. Once again back on board. You can see the amount of spray that comes off these little MX-5s, and the problem with it is some of that water's actually on the inside of the windscreen. So that's hampering his vision on the inside as we go back and look at Henderson and Jenkins. Jenkins still ahead of Alan Henderson here. And that's Brett Smith coming into the party as well. Brett Smith in the blue number 39 car. Henderson, you would have to think he's got to be capable of getting past here as Jenkins runs a little bit hot through here. Remember, they were side by side all the way through these sections of ends a couple of laps ago. And it was almost Alan Henderson that come out on top. But by the time they got to the first corner, once again, Jenkins had got back ahead of him. Past race control, past the pits and the marshals and their pit crew. I would imagine they'd be in the garage if they're not standing on that wall. And along we go through turn 1 in towards the banking. The BRSCC really proud of their Mazda championship. You should visit their website sometime. All sorts of news on the BRSCC website. Big deep breath now for Alan Henderson. Turns it in ever so gently. Face full of spray from Rhys Jenkins. Jenkins almost disappears there in the amount of spray, and here comes Brett Smith. Well, this was never in the plan, was it? But Brett Smith has got himself up there with his lovely cool flashing red light in the back, which is really a great bit of visibility, that. And the bumperless MX-5. Alan Henderson's going to have to watch his rear view mirror now, because things are about to start getting a bit busy for him. Meanwhile, it's Tom Roach coming down the hill through the corkscrew section. Brian Chandler has kept him honest all the way through. A great drive from Brian. An equally great drive by Tom Roach in the Blendini Motorsport car as they come out and go across The start-finish line and Tom Roach takes a fantastic win. The checker flag flies for number 1, Tom Roach. 76, Brian Chandler pulls up alongside him and gives him a nice little congratulations there. Daniel Rogers, what can we say? What a great drive. We barely saw Daniel on television, but he comes home for a podium in 3rd place. That will really make his whole weekend. And I can guarantee now these drivers just want to get out of these cars and into something a little bit drier. But well done, Tom Roach. Really quality drive there. Fastest lap of the race actually went to Tom Roach. A 1:31.9. Let's have a look at the official results for Anglesey Race 3. Tom Roach from Brian Chandler and Daniel Rogers round out the podium, with Alan Henderson, Rhys Jenkins and Brett Smith, Will Blackwell Chambers, James Blake Baldwin, Charlie Chairman and Jonathan JJ Clements in 10th position.